He has 2 decades of experience working on big-budget productions with names such as Clint Eastwood, Kevin Costner, and Ang Lee. Welcome to both of you. And Bill, I'm going to start with you there in LA and ask you to tell me basic outline of this film. Why do you think it's going to raise a few eyebrows?
Well, it's a story that carries many universal themes. Primarily, it's about a woman who is caught in a very extraordinary environment, and she's forced to make choices, in other words, in the journey that she follows, to either take a left turn or right turn when she comes to the various forks in the road. She doesn't know what she's doing. Most of us, when we go through life, we don't know which direction we're going to go. We sort of have an idea, but we sort of embrace the same unknown landscape that this character does, and she, of course, follows a path that is not necessarily predictable, but enough to know that she's going to survive, that she's going to be able to escape the conditions of which she finds herself within, and trying to make herself not only one safer, but to give herself some sort of assurance that her destiny or fate is somewhat in control.
Also, Bill, I guess it's the fact that it involves Afghanistan, it involves a Muslim woman, it involves someone who's going from that environment to America and getting caught up in this murder plot and has a second husband and so on. It's themes that really, I guess, Hollywood hasn't been that keen to cover up to now, or at least hasn't covered up to now.
No, there's been a wave of change, actually, in the last 2 or 3 years, and it's probably been most evident with the way the Academy Awards just had occurred in recognizing international stories transcending all borders and becoming something that all audiences are embracing worldwide, in the sense where if the story is solid and the characters are totally sympathetic in the sense of understanding and identifiable, that will alleviate any of the flaws that usually appear within the story structures that we see in these kind of features, but something that will have a life to its own and become recognizable to everybody, and be recognized, and like I said, interplay a lot of the trans-border attributes.
Right. Well, Monica, of course, you in the past you've played these in these Bollywood films where your sort of sexy roles have raised the eyebrows, and you're going from that to a woman who essentially is in a burqa and starts off at least in a burqa, and it's a big departure from your traditional roles. How are your fans going to take that?
Because behind the burqa lies a very sexy, manipulative woman who's in grave danger and who's also being manipulated. Also, I think for an actress, it's a big challenge to land a part in a mainstream Hollywood film and to be directed by Bill Bannerman. It's quite exciting, because how many films do you see or come across where a Muslim protagonist, a woman, the story revolves around her? So I think it's very challenging for me.
Now, how are you going to prepare yourself for that role? Because, of course, you're having to go into a different kind of mindset. As someone who, in Afghanistan has experienced something very different from what you day-to-day would have been experiencing.
Yes, a lot of preparation work. I'm looking towards Bill for helping me out, and certain nuances like their day-to-day life, their struggles, their fears, their insecurities. All that will have to be portrayed very convincingly.
Well, I wonder, how some of the sensitive issues that will come up, how you will handle them. Have you had a chance